Brittany, just one thing. You mentioned that you think people should try to reintroduce some romance into.
Yeah, I think it's been sucked out of the life of everyone. This whole thing of the terminal men versus women war has just sucked the romance out of everything, and everyone's just very low trust, and it's very sad to see. And I really wish that romance is brought back, because as we've taken it out, we have all these very undefined relationships, and people are unhappy about it, and everyone's just having to settle for so little because the bar is just so low, and it's really sad for both genders.
Can you clarify or maybe expand on what you mean though by romance? What does that look like?
Like two people who genuinely like each other and want to commit to each other and are only into each other.
Okay. Because when I think of romance, I tend to think of perhaps like romantic overtures, such as, for example, buying girl flowers, paying
Those are nice
for
too.
the
Those are
first date.
pleasantries, I suppose,
Yeah.
but it's the foundation that really matters too.
Okay.
Those are symptoms. That comes after you have a good foundation, right?
Okay, so more like actual genuine liking of the person versus perhaps the transaction, I think things tend to be looked at almost in a transactional way, whereas like what can this person provide, whether it's finances, whether it's, whatever it may be.
And that's not to say that men should therefore date ugly, unattractive women that they're not attracted to, and women should date men that they're not attracted to.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, for example, if you want children, there needs to be money there in order for you to raise the children. So,
Sure.
like, looks and being able to provide for a family certainly do matter, but it has become a lot more transactional, and I think that's what's given to the rise to things like OnlyFans, and why so many guys and girls are buying into it, and it's sort of like this parasocial thing.
Do you think people
And I
have
don't think it's very
OnlyFans
romantic.
because there's not enough romance?
I think that with the rise of relationships becoming more and more vague, like at the beginning of the show, for example, he was like, whether you're in a situationship, this or that, and it's like 10 different labels instead of just like dating or committal boyfriend, girlfriend, etc.
So if you think that was more clear, people wouldn't get on OnlyFans and make money?
I think that OnlyFans is happening due to the fact that, for example, because most of the customers are guys, even though there are some girls.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that they're using that as a replacement for sex, in the same vein as. And
Okay.
I don't think it's good for either party overall.
Like Japan's
And
probably
it affects
a decent
children
example.
too. Yeah, Japan too.
What do you mean
Because
affect, like porn affect children or OnlyFans?
Well, you could also make the argument if men were getting romance or getting sex from women, that there would not be such a market for OnlyFans.
Like upwards of 90% of men watch porn, upwards of 90% of men aren't single. I mean, a lot of normal people with relationships or jobs, like normal people are on
But that might
OnlyFans,
be
normal people watch.
But that might be contributing to why they're single.
Yeah,
Not
because if you can
where
suddenly
you
watch
get
this porn every day,
your
like why would you work out? Why would you work on your career? Why would you do all that stuff? Is you can just
Well, the
get it on your
majority of
computer.
people that watch porn, like that work out also, they're not working out because they're on OnlyFans. I
But
don't think that's.
just because that one person, like there's people that do, it doesn't mean that there also aren't like a lot of people who don't, because pornography exists, because it's there and so easily available.
So are you just saying that, or is there some like statistical evidence for this? Is just what you feel?
Like I said, you can look at societies like Japan, where they have this massive price. There's a huge porn industry in Japan. Like every single part of the relationship is compartmentalized, where people are going to like men can go to strip clubs, women can go to like host clubs, which is like the male version of that. It just doesn't seem to be
And
like
you think
a very.
that's the reason that Japan is like that? Because I mean, like Europe is super open with sex. We're kind of uptight here in the U.S. And like,
There's
are you
also
seeing that countries that watch more porn, you're seeing more of this?
It's that
like,
mixed in with the lack of connection, especially things like, without violating TOS, people being less connected because of COVID, people getting on Discord conversations and having friends through that versus having actual real friends, and
Okay.
people kind of compartmentalizing
So
that.
social media in general.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you mix that in with lack of social skills, which is kind of a pretty prevalent problem in Japan, like we're getting a lot of that here. So.
But do you think that, like, are you saying that you think the majority of men on OnlyFans don't have social skills? Like, are you saying that porn in particular, OnlyFans in particular, is different than all these other forms of social media that's making people less connected? You think OnlyFans and porn in particular is an issue?
I'm thinking it's all kind of mixed in together as like maybe people should move a little bit more away from it. Maybe like if all of your friends are on Discord, maybe check your life a little bit.
Yeah,
or,
okay,
or
I agree with you on
all
that.
your present, if you're on the computer if you're not a content creator and you're on the computer all day, maybe check yourself a little bit.
Yeah,
I
I
have
agree.
something to add on to that. So I think that it's all of it as well, but it's specifically with fans, as the nature of any other pornography, it's a replacement for sex. So I think in that specific area is what it's replacing. So instead of like maybe going and trying to get a girlfriend or a committal relationship, they might turn to OnlyFans, and I think that's why it's become so popular too. And versus other social media, let's say Discord, that would be more like a way of replacing friendship.
I don't know why people think it's like a replacement for sex. I don't think if people watch, they're like, oh, I don't ever want to see a real woman naked. I don't think.
Well, men get ED from it though.
Yeah, that can happen, but like addiction in general is so misunderstood. It's it's not even recognized by people, the DSM-5, the APA. Like, it's not recognized for a reason, and a lot of it also has to do, they've done studies with moral incongruence. So they've looked at men who've watched porn, and they've compared men who think they have because a lot of it is just what you think you have a problem. Like, do you feel like this is interfering with your daily activities, etc.?
But you wouldn't know unless you stopped for a long period of time.
No, but they find that the men that think it does, they also have negative attitudes towards. They have some like moral opposition to it. They're extra religious. They find that those men don't actually even watch more porn than normal men who are living normal, healthy lives. But they have they are like, sex is normal, right? And they're like, oh my God, I have an addiction because I'm not supposed to be doing this. God is mad at me, whatever. And then because they're normal, they turn to it again and again and again, and they think that's an addiction when it's not.
Some people are uncomfortable with social interactions in general, whereas porn and OnlyFans kind of gives you that opportunity to have that fantasy without having to overcome that social anxiety to go and talk to a woman, go on a date and everything.
It's definitely easier. I mean, think about it. What's easier, hanging out with a friend or messaging on Discord, right? So in that same sentiment, I think you have voiced that you don't think that it's a replacement, but if that's not the case, then why, when someone's horny, they turn to porn? Otherwise, what would they have to turn to?
There are a lot of men in relationships that turn to porn. Like, if your girlfriend isn't there with you in the moment, a lot of like that, upwards of 90% of men watch porn, and not 90% of men are single.
Right. And also,
but that could also reflect on their relationship. It could mean that they're not satisfied to some degree, and not even that the woman's not good enough.
But you're making that up. Like, you don't.
No, not even that the woman's not good enough, but like that maybe they're so used to porn that they need those options, because that's one of the most common things you hear from guys when you ask them why do they watch
even
porn.
when I'm in relationships and I'm having a ton of sex, I masturbate. Like, I don't, like, sometimes you want your little alone time, and it's in moderation. I'm not saying it can't be a problem, but I mean, anything, drinking in moderation, gambling in moderation.
What do you guys think about, do you think that if a guy is horny and he goes out and tries to find a woman in public, that's better than going online? To go meet a woman for the first time and go out
to just hook up?
Whatever. Yeah, you're just going out to,
I think hookup culture is just as terrible.
Right, so it's like, what is worse? Go online and beat it?
But why do you have to meet someone
both
at a
are bad.
club?
Go out
Why not,
and
like, at a
either?
Both are bad.
a random person.
Both are bad.
Yeah,
but I mean,
why
some people
either?
benefit from it. It's an industry, so this is a free country, you know?
Why is it bad?
Psychologically, that's all.
Because
it's not bad for you.